As the national anthem concludes here at Tim Hortons Field, this is Dana McKeel and Dwayne Cameron offering you the broadcast here on CanadaFootballChat.com, one of the many partners of OFSAA Football. We've got the West Secondary School Trojans and North Bay against Sir Winston Churchill Trojans from Thunder Bay in the Northern Bowl. And Dwayne, we've got quite a matchup between these two squads. It's been a tradition over the years to have these two teams on two regions compete against each other.
Yeah, we've seen them numerous times in this environment, Dana, and they certainly provide wonderful competition for each other when they play in these games. They're generally very exciting games with that are closely contested. And for these kids, they've made long trips down here. They certainly want to represent themselves, their schools, and their families well. And we're in for a great time this morning.
West Ferris coming in with a 5-1 record. And key player being Mason McGriskin, the quarterback. They came out with a big victory, defeating Lively from up north in the NASA final, Lively outside of Sudbury. And that was a 14-0 victory. They also won in the semifinals, 25-24 against Cora from Sault Ste. Marie in the NASA semifinals. So they've been on a roll since that first loss of the season against Schollard Hall, which they lost 28-0. It's been all North Bay, West Ferris all the time.
Yeah, and interesting in their regular season results, they won their games convincingly, and within the playoffs, they've won very tightly contested games. So you get a sense from this team that they certainly got the power to be able to pull away and run away with a game. But if it's a tightly contested game, they can manage their emotions and come out on top.
And looking at Thunder Bay Winston Churchill Trojans, who are undefeated coming into this matchup, averaging offensively 27 points per game. Defensively, only holding the opposition to 16 points. They came out with a league final against Hammarskjold. It was a come-from-behind victory, 37-26. And they also won their semifinal game against Westgate, and that was a 17-0 victory.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for me today when I watch this game is can Sir Winston Churchill slow down this West Ferris offense? I think that will be the key to who wins this thing today.
Winston Churchill coming in 6-0 during the regular season. The only other team that was close to them was Hammarskjold at 4-2. And Winston Churchill, 14-time Thunder Bay League champions. Unfortunately, the school's closing next year.
Yeah, this will be the last football game that they will ever play, so it's an unfortunate situation. But just with a population base, I think they're going to amalgamate a couple schools, and we're fortunate here to be a part of their last ever game.
Thunder Bay Winston Churchill will be in the wine-colored jerseys. North Bay West Ferris in the white-colored jerseys. Our officials today, the referee, Kevin Horton, the umpire, Graham Fraser, the back umpire, Brian Mortimer, the back judge, David Gray, the head linesman, Frank Pryal, the line judge, Andrew Murray. We only go with the best here on CanadaFootballChat.com. Quite a matchup between these two squads. Dwayne, looking at these key players, we talked about Mason McGriskin as the quarterback for North Bay West Ferris. Ryan McColeman also seeing lots of action, running back with the Trojans.
Yeah, they can throw the ball, they can run the ball. McGriskin's had an outstanding season. We've had him down at Laurier. He's been at our camp a couple times, so we're well aware of what his abilities are. He certainly will be he'll be a challenge for this Winston Churchill secondary. And
looking at key players for Thunder Bay, running back Braden Prochnicki, and hope I pronounced that correctly. Prochnicki had 201 yards rushing versus Westgate in the semifinal. Also, Connor Byerly scored a touchdown against Westgate in the semifinal as well. But the key guy that we're looking at is James Basilica, 8 receptions, 177 yards, 3 TDs, and 2 interceptions against Hammarskjold. So play is underway, and here's North Bay West Ferris with the ball being returned. And this is a good run. It could be right off the bat. Out to center field. Just one man to beat. And Ryan McColeman brings it down to the Thunder Bay 30. So it's a 1st and 10 for West Ferris at the Thunder Bay 30.
Yeah, an outstanding start right off the get-go. McColeman hit that thing quickly. It certainly was well blocked up, but I was really impressed. No hesitation whatsoever, Dana. He got vertical right away, stuck his foot in the ground, made one move, and he was gaining yardage quickly. And what a great start for West Ferris.
Oh, what do you expect from their offense coming into this matchup, Dwayne?
Oh, they can run the ball. They can throw the ball. He's got a couple different targets that he likes to work with, a big offensive line to work behind, so they can hit you both ways.
Fake on handoff to McColeman, and they'll go left on the play. And for West Ferris, just taking a look at how they lined up, and this is number 19, Braden Campbell, the slot back, who was able to get a couple of yards on the play.
Yeah, they were able to get outside quickly and gain the edge. Excellent blocking at the point of attack by the offensive line and the receivers down the field, and able to pick up 7 yards on first down.
The second down situation and 3 to go. West Ferris in shotgun. Handoff. Going to drive this one through the gut. Ryan McColeman, the ball carrier, he'll bring it down to the 20. And tackle on the play made by number 19, Tom Thompson, the linebacker.
He followed in behind the H-back, fullback, number 80, Adam Wallace. Big H-back at 6'4", 250 pounds. Certainly can open up some holes. They're coming out here with a 31 set and fullback under center. Go ahead.
Wow, exactly, and that's exactly what they did. They tried to push it forward again with the H-back. They get it to the 20, but Thunder Bay defense standing up big time on the play.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just trying to describe the formations they were using, and they quick snapped us right there, trying to catch Sir Winston Churchill off guard. But they're coming out with 3 wide receivers here consistently on this first drive to the wide side of the field. And that H-back that I talked about, Adam Wallace, he's motioning around in the backfield, and they're running behind him. And certainly at 6'4", 250 pounds, you'd expect them to be able to run behind him effectively, and they have so far.
Absolutely a horse out there, and certainly the pride and joy of the lineup. So they're going to take the ball. It's a first down situation for West Ferris. And they're in shotgun. Here's McGriskin. Handoff. Thunder Bay reading that quite well. They're going to try and trap McColeman behind the line of scrimmage. And he looks like he just got back or even gained a yard on the play.
Well, outstanding rally by the Sir Winston Churchill defense right there, Dane. I think all but one player was involved in that tackle by the end of it. Certainly a fantastic rally there by the entire group of Winston Churchill defenders to limit the gain.
Second down situation, there was a gain of a yard on the play. 2nd and 9. Here's McGriskin. Handoff again. Wide open as he goes left off tackle on the play. He'll bring it down to the 10.
Well, we've seen a common theme already here, and that's that they want to run outside, and that time it's 32, Ryan McColeman, and he hit that weak side edge and was able to pick up the first down. I think one of the adjustments Sir Winston Churchill is going to have to make, they're going to have to either widen out their defensive end or bring some edge pressure from the second level to slow that outside run game up.
Ryan McColeman at 5'5", 180 pounds. That's pure heart going through the line. McGriskin on the handoff. McColeman again going off tackle. And he's going to be driven to the turf and brought back on the play. Number 57, DeAndre Cardell, the linebacker, up on the play.
Yeah, it was an excellent job by the defensive end initially to slow him down a little bit. Number 71, Nathan Hirima. He wasn't ultimately able to make the tackle, but slowed McColeman down enough that his friends were able to come and rally, bring up a 2nd and long situation.
Certainly McGriskin, very good in game management, and he's had to be. He's played some pretty tough competition. They've had some great games over the course of the regular season, including a 21-19 victory against Scullard Hall and another 2019 victory against Franco Sete. So here's McGriskin. He's looking to take it into the end zone. He's knocked to the turf with about 2 yards to go to the goal line. That was a good call on his part.
Well, they ran the option to the strong side, and he elected to keep it, and he elected early to keep it. There wasn't any forced player at the first level, and so he was able to gain yardage and was stopped just short of the first down here. So we're going to be 3rd and 1, but you see that he's got an aggressive running ability. He's not afraid to keep it and turn up the field.
That's exactly what it is, a 3rd goal situation. McGriskin in shotgun. Motion in the backfield. They're going to hand this off to McColeman. He'll walk right through. Touchdown, West Ferris.
Well, excellent opening drive, and certainly it was dominated by the run game, but a couple different people involved in it. We saw Braden Campbell carry the ball. Obviously, we've seen Ryan McColeman carry the ball, and Mason McGriskin has kept it himself. So if you're Sir Winston Churchill, you can't really key on anybody here early. They've certainly got multiple weapons to run the ball.
Look at that Malcolm McLeod, who certainly created a lot of space out there for McColeman at 6 foot, 290 pounds. Big boy in that lineup.
Yeah, big offensive line and big H-back in there to follow behind as well.
Here's Cameron Walters on the kick. It's good. 7-0 for West Ferris as they lead Thunder Bay Winston Churchill here in this Northern Bowl.
Well, we talked a few minutes ago in the opening, that I thought the key to this game was Sir Winston Churchill's ability to slow down that West Ferris offense. West Ferris did it all on the ground in that first drive, ate up 7.5 minutes off the clock here. Obviously had the excellent opening kickoff return to set them up with good field position, but Sir Winston Churchill is going to need to respond here. Unfortunately for them, they gave up that drive they gave up the touchdown on the first drive.
Dwayne, looking at the history of the Northern Bowl, and we've seen some great games of the past, and this stretches all the way back to even before the bowl games were played at Rogers Centre in Toronto. West Ferris played in 2004, defeating Hammerschool from Thunder Bay 27-22. Winston Churchill has been to 3 other Northern Bowls, and that include 2009, 2011, and 2012. That was the last time they participated in a Northern Bowl. So Thunder Bay's got the ball at their own 22. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Trojans.
Well, excellent, well-placed kick there by West Ferris, placing it over in the right corner. And Sir Winston Churchill tried to run the wide side return to the right, Braden Prochnicki, but he was never able to get beyond those boundary side coverage players. And so they're going to start deep in their own territory here.
Good chance to see the offense for Winston Churchill. They've put out some very good numbers over the course of the season. Averaging offensively 27 points per game. They're in shotgun. We got quads coming off the right side. Looking to go with the hitch pass, and it's caught out to the 25, and they get it almost to the 40-yard line. That's number 11, Braden Prochnicki, the running back at 5'9", 165 pounds. He's a senior in the lineup.
Yeah, same young man that just returned the kickoff for him. Great play on first down. They actually had an empty backfield, a 51 set, 5 receivers, including Prochnicki, to the wide side of the field, and they threw the bubble screen to him. The receivers blocked it up well, and they're able to gain 15 yards.
So 1st down and 10 from the 37. They're in shotgun. Again, run quads, and this time off the left side. And they'll go with the lone receiver, Dyke Taw, the running back and a wide receiver. He's a small guy, only a 5'1", but 175 pounds. He can play.
So back-to-back plays of empty formations. That time it was a 42 set, 4 receivers strong and 2 into the short side of the field. And at the high school level, Dana, that's something that's really difficult to prepare your defenders for, 6 eligible receivers outside of the box. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they stay with it.
The offensive line has a lot of pressure coming down on top of them. Going outside with the pass, and just beyond the outstretched arms of the intended receiver on the play.
Yeah, that was the first time we've seen them try to target number 81 there, Basiliga. The throw was not very accurately done, but we see them coming out here throwing 3 straight passes in a row. They're going hurry-up offense, no huddle here. They're lined up and ready to go again.
James Basiliga, the star in the playoff game that enabled Winston Churchill to advance to this Northern Bowl. 2 interceptions on the day, 3 touchdowns. Quite a day for him. As they go counter with Braden Prochnicki, and Prochnicki will be taken out at the 40-yard line of West Ferris. So certainly some good motion and good movement with the Thunder Bay offense.
Well, you can tell already, Sir Winston Churchill, their offense is certainly coached at a high level. We've seen empty sets already. We've seen hurry-up offense. We've seen jet sweep. They're coming at you many different ways, and they're in the hurry-up again.
They're in shotgun again, looking at trips coming off the left side. The pass, and it's picked off. It was deflected and picked off. West Ferris has got the ball.
Yeah, really an unforced error right there. I think the ball went off the hands of number 3, Connor Byerly. It was a simple hook route into the flat, and the ball was thrown just above his helmet, but certainly one that he should have been able to catch, and went right off his hands into the hands of the defender there. I believe it was Cole Goddard, the defensive back, grade 11 5'9", 175, who was the man on the spot right there. And disappointing end there for Sir Winston Churchill. They certainly were moving the ball methodically down the field on that West Ferris defense.
Very unfortunate, as the Thunder Bay offense seemed to be getting in sync and moving the ball downfield, and West Ferris coming up with that pickoff on the play.
And they're going to have to take advantage of the opportunities that they get. West Ferris, we saw they were able to go down the field and drive methodically on their own and score. So Sir Winston Churchill can't afford any unforced errors here this morning.
Here's Mason McGriskin. Faked McColeman on the play. He's going to roll outside with the pass, and it appeared to be deflected. It was intended for number 19, Braden Campbell, the slot back.
Yeah, very fortunate there. Wide receiver Riley Geisler was running right down the seam, Dana, with no defender on him. They only had the one corner out there and two wide receivers. McGriskin did not see it and then got flushed out of the pocket, so he wasn't able to come back to it later, or that play may have ended up in the end zone.
Riley Geisler, quite a story in himself, and we'll certainly reflect about that in one moment. Here's McGriskin. The pass outside. It's caught. And reception will gain about 7 yards on the play. That was number 19, Braden Campbell, the slot back again. He's getting some good action here in the first quarter.
Yeah, just threw the ball three-step quickly out to him in the flat. Interesting note, just watching the alignments here, West Ferris has got some numbers on the outside. I'm not sure about the adjustment assignments here based on formations that Sir Winston Churchill is adjusting to. But like right now, West Ferris has three wide receivers out here. West Ferris only with two defensive backs to the wide side.
Here's West Ferris with trips off the left side, but there's a fumble on the play, and the ball has been ruled dead. And Thunder Bay is going to take over possession of the ball, so Winston Churchill will take the ball at just under the 50-yard line. It'll be the 49 of West Ferris, and very good field position.
Yeah, unforced error. I just talked about Winston Churchill not being able to afford those. And now we see the first one from West Ferris on the QB running back exchange right there. Interesting. I'm not sure that the Winston Churchill defender ever really had possession of the football, but it doesn't matter. The referee thought he did, and they're now starting in West Ferris territory.
That brings us back to the Trojan offense. And they're going to hand off on a counter and go back inside. That was number 11, Braden Prochnicki, on the play.
Well, I'll tell you, the play defensively right there, Dana, was made by the linebacker, number 84, Caleb Boucher. They ran that jet sweep to the wide side again. He read it, saw it coming, and was able to take his wide receiver and push him backwards up into the backfield, and that forced the ball carrier to cut back inside.
Good standing by the offensive line. The ball, second down for Winston Churchill. Here's Ford. Looked to go with the hitch pass outside. It was intended for Prochnicki, but he just couldn't get his mitts on it. Just a little bit beyond him.
Well, they came with the bubble screen to the wide side, and he just wasn't accurate on the throw. Threw it too far out in front, and so somewhat disappointing here for Sir Winston Churchill. They took over in West Ferris secondary, and were only able to gain a yard. Capitalizing on the opportunities you get is one of the most important things. You can be successful against a high-quality opponent like they're facing here this morning. You certainly hope to get more than a yard on a possession.
Eric Moffitt playing the offensive tackle position, the left tackle for Winston Churchill, offering some pretty good protection up front. 6 foot, 280 pounds. That's a lot of love up there.
There's some big kids on both sides of the football here this morning.
3rd and 9 for Thunder Bay. They elect to punt, and the snap was over the head of Dyke Taw. Here's Taw with the kick, and it's going to bounce to the 20. And the return as he was wrestled to the ground. That was number 17, Cameron Walters, as he got taken to the ground at the 20.
I'm very impressed, Dana, with how Dyke Taw managed that situation. The snap over his head, oftentimes the kickers panic in that situation, and he didn't. He recognized that he had some time to pick the ball up, recognized immediately that if he were to kick it at that instant, it would have got blocked, so he kind of ran to his right, got himself a little space free, and calmly kicked it down the field. A great result, considering the situation.
Here's McGriskin. And they take it from the 15. On the handoff, they're electing to go left. This is McColeman as he tries to dance around a couple of defenders on the play, and he's taken down at the 20.
Yeah, not a lot of gain there. Connor Byerly came up from his halfback spot initially and was able to slow him down. And one thing I've noticed that I'm impressed by very early is how aggressively this Sir Winston Churchill defense pursues. And, slowing down, and the initial guy's able to slow it down. Even if he's not able to make the tackle, there's 2 or 3 more of his teammates right there shortly thereafter.
Liam Williamson, the linebacker, is 6 foot, 170 pounds in on the play. Their linebackers shuffle very well. And the pass, is it caught or no? They're going to rule it dead. It was intended for number 17, Cameron Walters. And Walters a huge part of the West Ferris offense.
Yeah, mistaken coverage there by Byerly, number 3. He didn't get enough depth. He had the 2 vertical routes, and he let them get on top of him. So he was beat initially, but then an unforced error by Cameron Walters. He clearly had the ball in both hands, but wasn't able to bring it down. So fortunate play there for Sir Winston Churchill that they didn't give up a long touchdown pass on an explosion play. And that'll bring up 3rd down here for West Ferris. And they're kicking into a very, very significant wind right now. Yeah,
no doubt the wind conditions and weather here will be a factor here for both games today. Following this game will be the Simcoe Bowl with Huron Heights from Newmarket and St. Matthews Tigers from Ottawa. Ball bounces just over the 40-yard line. Here's the return, number 81 on the play, James Basiliga. And they'll stop it right at the 37-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Winston Churchill.
Outstanding field position for Sir Winston Churchill. With this win, they're pretty much almost in scoring position here already. Whether it be a field goal. But, if you're Sir Winston Churchill, you start this far down in the field and you've got the accomplished passing game that they have schematically, you got to be looking to get 7 here.
So 1st and 10 from the 37. Dylan Ford. Lone back. He's got trips coming off the left side. Handoff. They're going to drive it through the B gap. And they'll bring it down to about the 22 on the play. That was Tyke Daw.
Yeah, Tyke Daw hit that quickly, and he no hesitation on his part. He was straight up the field. Excellent run there on 1st down. Really, one of the first times we've seen them run the football as they've been consistently throwing it so far. And unfortunately, we've got a West Ferris player down on the field right now who appears to be in a significant amount of pain.
We don't have a number at the moment. We had mentioned a player already playing with North Bay West Ferris and Riley Geister. He scored a touchdown against Lively. He's 5'11", 145 pounds. He won a gold medal in biotechnology category of North Bay Science event alongside partner Caleb Charette for presenting a study of genetic disease treatment using CRISPR proteins. I mean, you got football players that are into biotechnology. This is just outstanding, and it certainly is a snapshot of many students across Ontario that it's not just about athletics; it's about academics as well.
It has to be, and good on him. What you just talked about. I'm not even really sure what that means, but it's certainly very impressive for a young man like that to be fully committed academically as he is on the athletic field.
You're a recruiter for Wilfrid Laurier Root University and a coach with the staff. Congratulations on your season this year. Another bang-up job, and again, matching up against Western Mustangs.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how well we matched up against them, but we were one in a line of teams that certainly faced the gauntlet when we played them. A very impressive job by Greg Marshall and his coaching staff there, and nice to see the Vanier Cup back in the OUA once again this year.
And acknowledgement of some of our corporate partners, or all of our corporate partners, while we have a chance. Marchand School Sports, Pizza, Cable 14 Hamilton, City of Hamilton, CanadaFootballChat.com, Johnston's, OUA, Westmont Hospitality Group, Gatorade, University of Guelph, the CFL's Hamilton Tiger Cats, Sheridan Hotel Hamilton, Fox 40, Spalding, OCAA, and Hamilton's Fresh Radio. We really appreciate your corporate support for the OFSAA Football Festival here in Hamilton. I'd also like to thank the OFSAA Football the Football Festival people. Would like to welcome the Hamilton Tiger Cat players, alumni players, and special guests to the bowl games. We appreciate everybody. Lee Knight, the legendary Tiger Cat, Steve Kearns, who was here last night for the Hamilton St. Thomas More game and the Holy Names game against London South. Excellent football game featuring two of the best teams in the country. And also Bob Stacey, among many others. Dave Marler, who's here today. Outstanding support from the Hamilton Tiger Cats alumni.
Yeah, and it appears just as they've got him, taking him off the field there, it's number 23, Tyler Karpenko, the halfback for West Ferris that was down injured.
So Karpenko is off the field, and West Ferris is going to have to go to the depth chart. There's a handoff. Braden Prochnicki. Prochnicki looking for the end zone, and he brings it down to the 7-yard line. He was stopped on the play by number 5, Reed Lawton.
Yeah, 16-yard gain, just a simple inside zone play, but they've worked to spread this West Ferris defense out formationally. Went with a 32 set there, so they spread them out, and they win the one-on-one blocks on the inside with the zone blocking and able to pick up a huge gain.
Here's Dylan Ford. Got Prochnicki in the back field, and we've got a whistle on the play. It seems to be a procedural call.
It's a timeout.
Oh, they're going to call timeout, which was kind of surprising. Obviously, they detect something that was just not working.
Yeah, I think it was a West Ferris timeout here, and something that's unique about high school is seeing the coaches run out on the field into the huddles. That's certainly something that looks a little bit different. You don't see it at any other level, so it's always interesting to see.
Speaking of universities, the OFSAA Football Bowl Festival Board of Directors would like to welcome all U Sport coaches representing 27 universities from across Canada. And certainly welcome to see all the scouts and coaches, including yourself, on level 400.
Well, it's always a bright day in my calendar when I get to spend it with you. So happy to see you as well too. But
thanks.
it's interesting with the coaches. Obviously, we're all very much competitive, and we compete against each other, not just on the field, but within the recruiting circle as well too. But you have genuinely good relationships with those guys, and rarely do you get the opportunity to spend a significant amount of time with them. So it's nice to see him over here the last couple days.
Yeah, it really turns into a yearly party for you guys, doesn't it?
A yearly party.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's the annual event.
That's what it is.
Here's Thunder Bay. They're in the red zone. Dylan Ford, he's got Prochnicki in the backfield again. He hands off Prochnicki. He fell down behind one of his blockers on the play. He went down at the 5.
Yeah, very fortunate there that he fell down. It appears as if West Ferris is playing with a 40 front with their will linebacker flexed outside the weak side edge. And so they're essentially what they end up with is the defensive end on the boundary side and the will linebacker both outside of the offensive tackle. One of them has to chase low down through to the running back, and one goes to the quarterback. Fortunately for them, the defensive end missed the running back, but he fell down.
Shotgun again. They're going to go with the same play. Prochnicki, he's going to drive it over the goal line. That's a touchdown. Winston Churchill.
Yeah, they played the same way again right there in defensive end. Number 53, Ryan Dowdell, was responsible to chase down to the running back, and he chased as fast as he could, but he wasn't able to quite get there, and we saw Prochnicki walk into the end zone untouched.
Prochnicki, vital cog in the wheel for the offense of Winston Churchill. Dylan Ford certainly making good use of them. Now here's Winston Churchill with a quick setup for the convert. Dylan Ford on a bad snap. They get it through the uprights just in time. Boy, did that snap really catch Dylan Ford off guard.
Yeah, very good job there by their kicker to be able to manage that situation. The ball was on the ground, and he was already standing there on his approach, and he calmly waited for the holder to get the ball back on the tee with the pressure coming through from the defense, and just calmly kicked it through the uprights.
Boy, Dyke Taw, man, he's gotten off some very good kicks with a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, Dyke clearly is not a guy that gets rattled by pressure whatsoever. We've seen two different instances of snaps that they've had issues with, and he's handled the situation very well.
So that creates for a 7-7 ball game here in the Northern Bowl. Last time we saw Winston Churchill playing in the Northern Bowl was 2012 against St. Mary's College. They came out with a 47-26 victory. And again in 2011, they played Sault Ste. Marie's Superior Heights. and defeated them 34-28. And correction on the score, the 2012 game, that was 47-28. They also played in 2009. Winston Churchill defeated Sir James Dunn, which eventually became Superior Heights because the school amalgamated in Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, and we're now seeing an example of that where it's going to happen again with Sir Winston Churchill after this year.
Yeah, exactly. That was a 34-7 victory in 2009. Certainly looked forward to seeing them when they were at the Rogers Centre playing in those Northern Bowl games. Games would be covered early in the morning on Breakfast Television, City TV in Toronto, and they got very good media coverage. Here's the kick to West Ferris. It bounces at the 40, and the return was minimal on the play.
Yeah, number 33, James Piper, picked it up off the one bounce. Big young man at 6'5", 220 pounds. But minimal gain there on the return. Excellent field position for West Ferris outside the 40, but we are now into the second quarter, and so the teams have flipped sides, and now it's West Ferris that will come out with the wind at their back. And don't be surprised to see a more expanded passing game with Mason McGriskin now with the wind at his back.
Yeah, no doubt the wind is upwards of 40 miles an hour, or 60 kilometers an hour, however you want to look at it. Trying to drive this one over the 45.
Well, they stayed with the running game early here, even with the wind at their back. Just a simple inside zone. They don't get very much out of it.
Be a second down situation. 2nd and 8 for West Ferris.
We got to think we'll see some kind of play action. They've already emptied the tailback out of the backfield here before the snap.
Here's McGriskin. Shotgun. Looking to go downfield with the pass. It's caught. That's a first down for West Ferris as we've got number 88.
Geisler.
Geisler on the play, and that's exactly who it is, Riley Geisler.
Yeah, they initially they motioned McColeman out of the backfield and then brought him back in before the snap, Dana. They went with maximum protection, so they used the tailback and the fullback along with the 5 offensive linemen, went 7-man protection. He had great sight lines to throw the football and an excellent catch.
Shotgun. 5 receivers coming off the line. They're going with a seam pass and looking for Piper on the play. It just wasn't going to materialize.
Well covered by Connor Byerly there, number 3 for Sir Winston Churchill. The ball not thrown that accurately. People always think that it's easier for quarterbacks to throw with the wind, and for obvious reasons, but it's difficult from a touch standpoint because you're not sure quite how hard to throw the ball when you've got a 40 mile an hour wind at your back. It's hard to be accurate.
Again, 5 receivers coming off the line. They go with a hitch, and Thunder Bay picking up that one very quickly.
Yeah, the timing and execution on that hitch screen in the boundary just wasn't there. They needed to do a better job of drawing the Sir Winston Churchill box players, and by box players I mean their defensive linemen and linebackers. They needed to provide a better strong side zone run action fake to draw those guys in and open up the boundary, and they weren't able to do it. And the Sir Winston Churchill defenders flew out and dropped that play for a loss.
Cameron Walters on the reception, just not enough. 3rd down situation. West Ferris in punt formation. There's the snap. And the kick. And Winston Churchill will take the ball from their 25-yard line. They'll be about 3 or 4 yards on the carry, so it'll be 1st and 10 for Winston Churchill to set this set of downs with 9:46 left here in the second quarter. We're tied at 7 apiece between North Bay West Ferris and Thunder Bay Winston Churchill.
So early in the game we saw Sir Winston Churchill come out and throw the ball all over the park, Dana. But as they got towards the end of the first quarter and they started in a short field, they showed that they can be dominating running the football as well, too, which is something they're likely going to have to do more of as they walk into the teeth of this wind here in the second quarter. But they certainly showed they can do it both ways.
And that's exactly what's happening here as we see Thunder Bay and Winston Churchill. Oh, there's a fumble on the play. And quickly regathering the ball, number 81, James Basiliga, but he brought it out to the 50-yard line, almost had it taken away from him.
Yeah, jet sweep from the weak side back towards the strong side there. Strong side defensive end for West Ferris, number 90, Will Norman. almost was able to make the play in the backfield, but once it got outside of him, excellent blocking down the field by the Sir Winston Churchill wide receivers really maximized the amount of gain that they could have possibly got on that play. It's a great job by those wide receivers blocking down the field.
Winston Churchill running with trips off the right side. They hand off. They're going to drive it straight up the gut. That's Braden Prochnicki on the play. He brings it down to the 50-yard line of West Ferris.
We're seeing consistently them able to grind out 8, 9, 10, 11 yards on that inside zone read that they're running right there. West Ferris is going to have some kind of adjustment in the front. You can't keep getting gashed for 9 yards on first down.
That's tough to defend against when you're allowing that kind of yardage. And here's Dylan Ford again in shotgun. And they hand off. Run with another sweep. This is Braden Prochnicki as he brings the ball down to the 37. They're getting good yardage in this set of downs.
I've been impressed by Prochnicki's running ability and his vision so far. That jet sweep is designed to go outside, and when he saw the West Ferris defenders flying outside, he stuck his foot in the ground and turned back up inside and maximized the gain he could get out of it. That's an excellent vision by that young man.
What do you think about Prochnicki? He seems to be able to move on a dime.
He's a natural ball carrier, runs extremely well. He's got good vision. He shows some tackle-breaking ability for a smaller guy here.
Here's Ford, shotgun. Reversed on the play, and looking for the end zone, brings it down to the 15-yard line. That was Dayton on the play.
Yeah, it was a counter play, and they pulled the strong side guard back around to the boundary. He actually fell down, but the down blocks made by the Sir Winston Churchill boundary side guard and tackle were so effective that there was no one there on the cutback by Daw. So. Or rather by Taw. So that's excellent executed play there. And what we're seeing right now is West Ferris really struggling to slow down this Winston Churchill run game.
Dylan Ford. Prochnicki follows the lead block, and he was driven back to the turf. I'm not sure he was able to get any yardage on the play.
Well, no sooner had I said that they were struggling to defend the run than linebacker number 86, Brant McLeod, 6 foot 200 pounds, came up and filled the gap quickly.
Looking at big Eric Moffat at 6 foot 280 pounds, the center on the play. Boy, he creates a lot of space up front. Prochnicki's got some pretty good space to work with. Going to go with the pass outside. Whoa, look out. A big hit. That was West Ferris's number 32, Ryan McColeman.
We've seen McColeman make plays on both sides of the ball right now. He's certainly not the biggest guy in the world, just listed at 5'5", but he's playing that wide side corner there, and they threw the hitch screen out there, and he did two things really well. A, he defeated the block, and then B, made solid contact with the receiver the moment the ball arrived. So kind of a daily double-double there on one play. He made a great play.
Dylan Ford looking to the air again, and just beyond the intended receiver, James Basiliga on the play.
Yeah, the ball was thrown behind Basiliga. He never had a chance for it, and great job here by the West Ferris defense of really clamping down and defending the fort here when they got down into the red zone. If you're Sir Winston Churchill, you got to be disappointed somewhat with the result here, having to go with the field goal attempt.
Dylan Ford coming over to compare notes with the coaching staff on the sidelines. That throw was just a little bit beyond James Basiliga. No doubt the weather has some impact on the aerial game today.
Well, you're trying to throw a ball out to the wide side, and you're throwing it into the wind. It's going to blow that ball backwards and carry it away from the wide receiver. Very difficult to execute.
West Ferris takes the ball over at their own 8-yard line. Or correction, 12. It'll be from the 12, so they'll take it from there, and not able to materialize on the first set of downs.
Well, certainly my apologies. I didn't realize that was a third down play that they were going for there. I thought we were going to get a field goal attempt. I'm not sure why they didn't take the points and go with the field goal there. I know they've had some struggles in the kicking game so far, but Taw seems to be able to manage those situations quite well. I would have kicked the field goal and taken the 3 points.
Very gutsy move on the Winston Churchill part. The coaching staff. Handoff as West Ferris looking to drive it off tackle on the play. And Winston Churchill, they're defensive front four really standing up on the play, Dwayne.
And the linebackers doing a great job of scraping across with the pulling strong side guard and tackle as they try and run the counter back into the boundary. Excellent job right there of nullifying the gain. And West Ferris, 2 plays, 1 yard. Now they're going to kick it right back to Winston Churchill.
A couple of guys that continue to stand out among the linebacking core. Number 49, Liam Williamson, and number 57, DeAndre Cardell. The two of them really playing quite well. They move quite well as linebackers for Winston Churchill. Here's West Ferris. They're in punt formation. There's the kick. It'll bounce at the 36. And we've got a flag on the play. No yards call coming up on the play.
Yeah, it's kind of close whether or not that was a no yards. When the ball hit the ground, it immediately hit a Sir Winston Churchill player, and I didn't see a West Ferris guy in an area that I thought was immediately inside the halo. Referees are talking about it right now, so we'll see what they come up with here. But for Sir Winston Churchill, this is another drive where they're going to start on a short field. West Ferris, you can't afford to allow a dynamic offense like this to continually start drives on your end of the field. They're going to have to start being able to move the football themselves, even if they don't score points, just to manage the field position in this game.
So they're going to measure off the sticks at the 34-yard line of West Ferris. It'll be 1st and 10 for Winston Churchill. A lot of motion in the backfield. Ford hands off. Here's Prochnicki with the ball. Sees a big opening. He brings it down to the 19. Very good run for Braden Prochnicki.
Man, I'll tell you right now, that Sir Winston Churchill offensive front is having their way with this West Ferris defensive front. And Prochnicki repeatedly is going through 10 yards down the field before he's even touched at that point in time. This score is going to get out of hand fairly quickly if they can't get that stopped up.
Ford. He's got Prochnicki in the backfield. Trips coming off the right side. Prochnicki again sees the opening, and he'll take it for another 5 or 6 yards on the carry. And no doubt he's close to 100 yards here in the first half.
And tough runner, too. Deceptive for his size, 5'9", 165. He drove the tackler back there. He landed on top of the tackler, and the tackler was on his back. So you wouldn't expect that out of a young man of that size. But he's certainly running with a lot of confidence right now. You see him hitting the hole explosively and quickly. No hesitation whatsoever in his running style at this point.
Coaching staff from West Ferris realized that they've got to plug that hole, so they sent in Nick Babin, a defensive tackle at 6'6", 310 pounds. Here's Ford. Handoff. He goes to James Basiliga. Basiliga brings it down to the 4-yard line on a sweep. And that's a gain of 8 on the play, so that'll be 1st and goal.
Yeah, Basiliga, they bring him around from the weak side, a little misdirection there, and he's able to pick up the first down. They can hit you a number of different ways. Right now they got Basiliga. Certainly Prochnicki is rolling right now at this point in time. West Ferris is going to have to come up with some defensive adjustments.
The war is in the trenches right now, Dwayne. You look at the amount of size that both teams are lining up against each other offensively and defensively.
Yeah, there's some big offensive linemen on both sides. I see some 280s, 280. I see 280, 280, 250, 270. It's a big old line.
And Ford looking to go to the pass. It's deflected. Touchdown. James Basiliga as he's able to recollect the ball in the end zone.
Well, they've been running the ball so effectively that they went with an inside zone run. The quarterback pulled it, so a weak side Sally play where he rolls into the boundary, and actually very good coverage on the play by number 32, Ryan McCollman. But the ball, I believe he tipped it up in the air, and Basiliga was able to continue to track it and come down with it. So frustrating situation there for McCollman. Makes a good play on the football, but it's an even better play by Basiliga.
4-yard pass and catch. Here's Ford. As they stretch out the offensive line, they're going to go opposite field. The intended receiver on the play was Dyke Taw and did not materialize. So you can put 6 more points up on the board for Winston Churchill. It's now 13-7 in favor of Winston Churchill Trojans as they lead West Ferris here in the second quarter. 2:47 left in the ball game. Dana McKeel, Dwayne Cameron bringing you all the action here on CanadaFootballChat.com.
I got to think that they don't have any confidence at this point in time on their for their long snapper or their holder. on field goal situations. In their last 2 series, we've seen them go for it on 3rd down inside the 10-yard line. In this situation, they run a trick play on a 2-point conversion with their field goal unit out there. So they've been unsuccessful in both situations. They could have an additional 4 points and a 10-point lead right now, and but it's only a 6-point lead. So I think you take the points when you can get them when you're playing against a quality opponent like this. But interesting to see if they stay with that philosophy throughout the game.
The Ford name is quite prominent in West Ferris, as they've got Dylan Ford as the with Thunder Bay, Winston Churchill, as they've got Dylan Ford as the quarterback, Steve Ford, the defensive coordinator, and Tyson Ford is the defensive backs coach. Boy, that's a lot of Fords up there in Thunder Bay.
Wonder what kind of truck they drive.
I bet you they've got a sponsorship agreement with Ford. 1st and 10 for West Ferris, as they'll take the ball at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, I don't understand the philosophy there. They went with a short kick. West Ferris is going to start with the ball on their 46-yard line right now. I don't know why you don't kick it deeper and force them to work on a longer field. They have the wind at their back at this point in time right now, so I don't understand the process there. But
going to go with the pass as McGriskin is able to hit Riley Geisler on the play. And if they're going to have any success, Geisler has to become more of the offense.
I think we'll see that, especially now that they're behind. They have the wind at their back. We see them come able to execute. They come out and they just run 10-yard hook routes on 1st down. Good protection. They go max pro with the tailback and the big H-back in there. Adam Wallace staying in. Very little pass rush whatsoever from Sir Winston Churchill. That's really like playing catch in the park for a quarterback in that situation.
Boy, it's not like you can't see Geisler. He's got illuminating shoes with lime green. Must have used some biotechnical type device to ensure that he's got lime green shoes, as West Ferris is able to move the ball. And that's a 1st down. They'll move it down to the Thunder Bay 45. It'll be 1st and 10 for West Ferris.
Nice 8-yard pickup there by McColeman running inside. They've got 17 yards of offense already in 2 plays here, working their way down inside the Winston Churchill end of the field.
And it's picked off. Here comes Thunder Bay, Winston Churchill, as they've got the ball down to the 38-yard line. Wow. That was number 81, James Basiliga, and you know that he's going to become prominent in this game.
Well, he's a playmaker. He was playing the field, strong side halfback position right there, and McGriskin, he threw that ball hard. He put a lot on it, and it was a slight overthrow off the hands of the receiver, who had to go above his head to catch it, tipped right off the hands. Very similar to the first interception we saw in the first quarter, Dana, and same result. The defender catches it off the tip, and a disappointing situation for West Ferris. Now, you don't want to go down 2 scores against an offense that's kind of humming the way that Sir Winston Churchill is right here. This is a big series for this West Ferris defense.
1st and 10 for Winston Churchill. Ford. Hands off. This is Prochnicki. He brings it down to the 30-yard line. And again, that 1st down is so strong for Winston Churchill, able to come up with the big yardage on the 1st down.
Well, in that particular situation, they started up with 3 receivers in the boundary, and they motioned one of them back in as a fullback. And so essentially he led up inside between the guard and the tackle. And it just – at a high school level, teaching defenders how to track that type of motion is a bit of a challenge schematically, and if you're not able to do it, it's going to be tough to stop.
And West Ferris able to shut that one down behind the line of scrimmage. Prochnicki had nowhere to go, nowhere to hide.
Great job shooting the gap by Austin Boucher there, the defensive tackle, 6'2", 240. They've gone to the well a lot on that play. That play at this point in time, they've run that 4 or 5 times. And so West Ferris is on to it. Look for a quarterback to pull the ball, fake the jet sweep, and keep it for himself on a QB counter at some point in the near future.
Here's Dylan Ford. Got trips coming off the left side. Again, hands off to Prochnicki. And West Ferris wanting to stop that one. as quickly as they can. They can't afford to allow the yardage that he normally picks up, driving it up the gut.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Dylan Ford pulls that ball at some time and keeps it. But as long as West Ferris keeps bringing two off the play side edge, one of those guys is going to dive straight to the running back, and the other one is going to go straight to the quarterback and essentially force the ball out of Dylan Ford's hands when he reads that edge. But if Prochnicki continues to keep getting 7 or 8 yards inside on each run, it's not going to make a lot of difference.
1st and 10. Winston Churchill. Again, they spread it out with the receivers, a 2-by-3 formation. And they were looking for the receiver on the left side. The intended receiver on the play was number 81, James Basiliga. Just not going to happen.
Yeah, he ran the slant route underneath. The number 2 receiver pushed up and went to the corner. It's sort of a high-low read, easy read for the quarterback. He can see 2 receivers through his line of vision vertically down the field, but an inaccurate throw out to the flat. We saw him throw inaccurately to the flat earlier, and I talked about cross-field throws into the wind are very difficult.
Dylan Ford looking for the screen. He sets it up quite well. Here's Prochnicki with the ball. He's looking to go to the end zone. Able to get into the end zone on the run. Braden Prochnicki. That's his second touchdown of the game.
Middle screen to the running back there, and the defensive tackle for West Ferris was right there. Ty Mayan, I believe it is. I hope I pronounced the name correctly, and I certainly apologize if I did not. But at the very last second, one of those Sir Winston Churchill offensive linemen was just able to pick him off enough on the shoulder so that he wasn't able to make the tackle, because he actually read it quite well, and that was able to spring the ball carrier to the end zone. There really was no resistance left after that.
Daita on the convert.
And we see Sir Winston Churchill going to the traditional point after play now and kicking it successfully.
So 39 seconds left here in the half. Winston Churchill from Thunder Bay leading West Ferris from North Bay 20-7.
Very interesting game here so far. I like the offenses by both teams. I like the things they're doing. They're doing high level. They're doing some high level things with the in the pass game for both teams, and then certainly in the run game with the multi-directional type runs and misdirection type runs that they're running here. This has been entertaining first half.
For West Ferris, their head coach Mark Robertson, the head coach for Winston Churchill, Mike DeRomko, and both of them prepare their teams quite well to be able to compete in this Northern Bowl.
No, these coaches, both of these teams are clearly coached well. It's a good job by these guys.
Here's the kick, and it's going to be a short one to the 40. And taking the ball is Cameron Walters. He'll be driven to the turf at the 45. So it'll be 1st and 10 for West Ferris with 36 seconds left here in the half.
The unfortunate thing for West Ferris here in the second quarter is they've had a really strong win for 12 minutes, and they're only, they've only been able to score one time. And in fact, they haven't scored at all. They scored going the other direction in the first quarter, so my apologies. But they've had a very, very strong win for this entire quarter, and no points to show for it due to some of their own mistakes. So with just 36 seconds left here, they've got limited options. They're going to have to try and get this in big chunks quickly.
Can Mason McGriskin make this happen? Not just for the balance of this half, but he throws the ball. It's picked off. This is number 81, James Basiliga. He continues to be a star as a defensive back for the Winston Churchill Trojans.
That ball was nowhere on target. McGriskin, I'm not sure if it just got away from him or if it was just a straight inaccurate throw, but that was nowhere near a receiver. Receiver had no chance to it. The easiest person for it to catch it was Basaga. He just stood there and waited for it. So unfortunate set of circumstances there for West Ferris, and still 26 seconds left here for Sir Winston Churchill. They could certainly get some points out of this.
1st and 10 from the West Ferris 40. Here's Dylan Ford. Trips coming off the right side. Prochnicki with the ball. He'll drive it up the gut again. He's good for 8 to 10 yards every time he carries the ball.
Well, with 26 seconds left, you wouldn't imagine that they're going to run the football. But if you're going to get 11 yards every time you run it, then 26 seconds is enough time. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what the West Ferris coaches are going to do at halftime, whether they need to make a personnel change, whether they need to make a schematic change in terms of the plays that they're calling. But clearly what they're doing right now is not working in terms of that inside run game. And Sir Winston Churchill with a lead already at this point, a 2-score lead, they're just going to stick with that the rest of the day. If you can't stop it, it's kind of like if it's not broke, don't fix it. So West Ferris is going to have to come up with some adjustments for sure.
Second and a yard to go for Winston Churchill. We've got a timeout called by Winston Churchill on the play. While we have a break in the action, certainly like to shout out to OFSAA and all the people representing OFSAA and working in the office. Doug Gallatley, the executive director, the media relations and marketing director, Pat Park, Seamus as well, and Denise Perrier, who's been brought on board with OFSAA, former coach with Humber Hawks in the OCAA. And to the president of OFSAA, Jennifer Knox, congratulations to all for being able to present the OFSAA Bowl Football Series and your support for this football festival. It's been truly amazing. Here's Dylan Ford looking to the air. And a short pass. It appeared to be a long pass, but it just stopped short of the receiver.
Well, I think that's just goes to show you how strong the wind is. He was trying to throw the go route, the fade route down the sideline, and a very excellent adjustment by Basaglia on the ball. He was almost able to come up with it as McColeman continued to run by it, but the wind certainly knocked that ball down, and it was a great attempt at it. He just wasn't able quite to get there.
Basiliga is a great open target at 6'1", 170 pounds, and he's got the wheels, Dwayne. He's got good feet. Here's Prochnicki, drive it up the gut. That's a first down with 13 seconds left here in the half.
Yeah, with it being 3rd and 1, they had to play. They had to run a play just to get the first down, but we're down to 13 seconds left here right now. So I'm not sure how far they feel they can kick this thing into the wind. They've called timeout to discuss this, but it's really a situation where you're probably going to get one, at the absolute most, 2 plays in, and then you're going to have to call a timeout. But I think they probably need to move the football another 5 or 6 yards closer to have a chance of kicking into this wind.
We got a timeout on the play right now. Willie Crocker is the offensive coordinator for Winston Churchill. He's out on the field going over the game plan. Boy, they really manage the seconds out on the field.
Yeah, and clock management, game management is a big part of coaching. You work specific situations and scenarios in practice. It's not a scenario where you just go out to practice and call plays for the day and then you go home. You've got to learn how to teach your players how to manage situations and scenarios, and certainly a 2-minute offense, which is what they're in here, whether it be to try and to kick a field goal or to have to win a game, is part of that.
Seen some outstanding football games over the past 2 days. This is the 3rd day of 3 days of action here at the OFSAA Football Festival. All carried courtesy of CanadaFootballChat.com and Cable 14 here in Hamilton. They're looking to go long distance again. The pass over the shoulder, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, they ran a real route there with Basaglia. They sort of faked the short throw and then went deep, and just wasn't able to fit it into the window there. The ball actually carried out of bounds. In this situation right here, I would literally just look to, you've got 8 seconds left, so you got to be able to stop the clock. You can't have a play that lasts longer than 7 seconds. They're going to go ahead and kick it right now. It looks like it's going to be a 33-yard field goal into a strong wind. So we'll see exactly how far Dyke Talk can kick this thing. But I think there's enough time for them to be able to get one more play off and just move this thing up 5 or 6 yards.
They got him listed at 5'1", 175 pounds. I believe he's a lot taller than that.
Yeah, I think we've got a
5'7", 5'8".
He's either 5'11" or 6'1".
Yeah, something like
so
that.
So either the 5 is incorrect or they forgot to add another 1.
Certainly not 5'1". But he has a lot of responsibilities playing in the lineup for Winston Churchill, kicking among them, and he's going to make this attempt from the 26. So the coach is back out on the field. Yeah, Dwayne, it's a little bit different when the coaches come out on the field to compare notes with the players instead of having them come over to the sidelines.
Absolutely. We're used to referees constantly telling us to get back. Out here, they're letting them go out.
8 seconds left. There's the attempt at the field goal. just short, and the ball's going to bounce in play. We've got a flag on the play as it bounced just before the goal line.
Yeah, I think somebody forgot to tell the Sir Winston Churchill players that they have to give 5 yards.
So,
it's a change of possession play. So just like a punt, you have to, you've got to give 5 yards to them in that scenario, in that situation.
You can't blame them. They want to get in on all the action, and they don't want to stand around on the sidelines. That's for sure.
No, but there's an example right there I talked about of Sir Winston Churchill needing to get another 3 or 4 yards at least. Right, that's essentially what they did. They put that kick up and it fell about 3 yards short. And so it would have been nice to see them take that 8 seconds left on the clock, just run stops, just run quick hitches, and pick up 5 yards and make sure the play ends before the clock hits 0, and you'll get the extra play in Canadian football. So, but they elected to go for the kick from 33 yards, and it fell just short.
So the referee made the call. There were 2 calls, actually, and both against Winston Churchill. So they'll end the half. And with the score at the half, Winston Churchill from Thunder Bay leading North Bay West Ferris 20-7 here in this Northern Bowl. We're going to take a break in the action, Dwayne, and come back with the second half of action. You're watching the Northern Bowl here on OFSAA Football on CanadaFootballChat.com from Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Tim Hortons Field here in Hamilton for the start of the second half of the Northern Bowl with the Winston Churchill Trojans leading North Bay West Ferris 20-7. Dwayne Cameron, your thoughts on that first half?
I was very impressed by the offenses of both teams. Unfortunately, West Ferris shot themselves in the foot with a couple of unforced errors that limited their ability to score points, but they were able to move the ball effectively at times up and down the field, and I'm really surprised to quite positively at watching the Sir Winston Churchill offense. This is a fun group to watch. They execute at an extremely high level. They can run the ball, throw the ball, and they can do it in multiple different ways. And in terms of the second half, West Ferris needs to come out, Dana, and find a way to stop that inside run game of Sir Winston Churchill and limit the unforced errors on the offensive side of the football in order to stay in this game.
Scoring recap from the first quarter, Ryan McColeman had a 1-yard touchdown. Cameron Walters with the convert for West Ferris. And then it was Braden Prochnicki who scored the first major for Winston Churchill. In the second quarter, it was James Basiliga with a 4-yard pass into the end zone, followed by Braden Prochnicki with a touchdown. And Dike Taw coming up with a convert with 39 seconds left in the half to conclude the scoring for Winston Churchill. So here we are in the second half, 20-7 in favor of Winston Churchill, and that'll take us down to the field.
Well, what a great start for West Ferris. They actually kicked off, but they kicked onside, and they recovered it. And so they're going to have the initial possession here in the third quarter.
1st and 10 for West Ferris. They pitch out. This is Ryan McColeman, and if they're going to have any success, McColeman's going to be a part of that equation, and he is able to get a first down on the play. They bring it down to the 25-yard line.
They went with 31 set, and they ran a toss to the strong side of the field, and the outside linebacker there for Sir Winston Churchill, number 41, Scott Fleming, wasn't able to keep the edge. You could see it from our angle up here that he had gotten outside and was going to gain significant yardage. So West Ferris come out with a surprise onside kick. They recover it, gain 10 plus yards on the first down here. They've certainly come out in the second half ready to fight, Dana.
Looking at some of the previous scores of bowl games over the past couple of days, St. Michael's Carey Blues from Toronto defeated Cardinal Newman Cardinals from Stony Creek 21-18. It was Oakville Holy Trinity, Curtis Holy Trinity taking out Peterborough Crestwood Mustangs 28-23. That was a very exciting game, a come-from-behind victory. Arnprior Rapids from Ottawa Valley defeating Nantyre Shores from Innisfil near Barrie, 28-10 final score. It was 29-25 in favor of Lorne Park Spartans from Mississauga as they beat Jacob Hespeler, and that was in the Central Bowl, and we'll have more scores as we continue to go along in the Northern Bowl here. West Ferris, again, Ryan McColman with the ball, and he brings it out to the 24-yard line. It's a second down situation.
Yeah, they ran the exact same play again to the outside, this time to the opposite direction based on the fact the ball was on the other hash. The strong side halfback for Sir Winston Churchill, number 9, Cam Vanderwees, wasn't able to keep the edge, but great secondary run force there by the cornerback to limit the gain to just 2 yards.
Here's McGriskin. They seem to be a brand new team coming out here on the field here for the second half. McGriskin looking to go to the air. And it was intended for number 17, Cameron Walters, as he was running a fade route into the corner, and defensive back on the play for Winston Churchill coming up with a knockdown.
Yeah, Joey Wall had the knockdown right there. The ball was underthrown, and Cameron Walters had the defensive back beat there, but he had to stop and wait for the football. I'd really like to see West Ferris throw to the strong side of the field here. If you look at the wide receivers and the defensive backs, they have numbers to the wide side of the field right now. They've got more numbers, but they're not throwing it over there.
And the pass just not there. It sailed away. And Cameron Walters was the intended target on the play, so West Ferris not connecting on an opportunity here deep in the Winston Churchill zone.
Well, and here's the issue that I have with what they're doing right now. They're trying to force the ball back into Cameron Walters in the boundary. Sir Winston Churchill's keeping the boundary side corner and halfback back over in the boundary. So they've got 2 guys there for that one. To the other side of the field, West Ferris has more receivers than Sir Winston Churchill is lining up with defensive backs. So they can't cover everybody over there, but they're not taking advantage of it. They're throwing the opposite side, which I really don't understand.
Certainly numbers, as we're talking about. Here's Dylan Ford in shotgun for Winston Churchill. They'll hand off. And got an opening. This is Brock Nicky. He's able to get down to the 50, down to the 50-yard line of West Ferris. That's a first down for Winston Churchill. What a run for Braden Prochnicki.
Well, we've seen Prochnicki do this already. We've seen this play offensively, and we've seen West Ferris defend it this way. And I'm okay with how they're defending it, but somebody's got to get to defensive end Ryan Dodal and tell him to play tighter on his chase. He's clearly chasing down to the running back. That's his assignment. And the edge player, the will linebacker, is going up to the quarterback. But we've seen Dowdell miss that assignment repeatedly 3 or 4 times. He just needs to come under control, and he's going to make the play in the backfield for no gain.
Here's Fort in shotgun. Got Cole Grant and Derek Steadwell wide as receivers. Motion in the backfield. Fake on the handoff. They're going to go up the seam with the pass. It was intended for James Basiliga. Yep. And just beyond Basiliga on the play.
Well, Basiliga should be walking into the end zone right now with a touchdown if that ball was thrown anywhere near him. West Ferris doesn't have a free safety in the middle of the field. They've got him down in the box, and then they're playing cut coverage with the field side halfback high up inside the number 2 receiver. There was no one over Basiliga whatsoever. He was running completely alone down the middle of the field.
Yeah, it would have been straight to the end zone if he was able to make the connection. Here's Dylan Ford. Shotgun. And they hand off to Dyke Taw on the play. Taw brings it down to the 45-yard line. Not enough for a first down.
No, it'll be interesting to see what they do here on third down. They've got the wind at their back in the third quarter, although the wind does seem to have changed a little bit in terms of a direction. It seems to be working across the field a little bit more here. But we've seen them sort of shun the kicking game earlier here. It appears like they're going to do that again. Taw's lining up in the backfield. They're going to go for it here on third down, Dana.
Mason Stanfield in on the last tackle. And Dylan Ford looking to draw the defense offside. They get back onside. And the pass was intended for Big number 11 in the lineup again, Braden Prochnicki, but did not connect. Good defense on the play.
Well, good defense, but it was a good throw, and it was on target. And Prochnicki had his hands on it, but the defender there came up and gave him a shot from behind just as the ball arrived. It was very good timing, well defended, and he was able to jar it out. So not able to capitalize there after the big run on the first play of the possession, and so advantage to West Ferris. But they got to avoid mistakes. They got to be able to put the ball in the end zone at some point in time. They're coming out here again, and they've got some numbers.
Well, they turned it over on downs, and West Ferris will take over possession of the ball, pitch out to McColeman, and he'll bring it out to the 49-yard line. A gain of 4 on the play.
Yeah, we're not seeing them run the football. They're not even trying to run the football in the interior at this point in time. And it would be nice to see them get behind Big Adam Wallace, a 6'4", 250-pound fullback H-back that they've got in there, and see if they can't make some yardage that way.
Second down situation for West Ferris. McGriskin. McColeman in the backfield. McGriskin with the throw. It's picked off. McGriskin threw the ball away. And Winston Churchill's got the ball. That was Connor Byerly who comes up with the interception on the play. And you had mentioned his name in the first half, Dwayne.
Yeah, no, we've called Byerly out a couple times. And so West Ferris chose to go to the strong side in that particular play. They had 3 receivers. There was only 2 defenders out there. So they've got an extra guy, but somehow they managed to throw it into the hands of the defender right there. So disappointing if you're West Ferris. And now Sir Winston Churchill is going to start with a short field here inside the West Ferris 40-yard line.
Byerly, a senior in the lineup. He can go both ways, offensively and defensively. Here's Prochnicki on the play as he gets it down to the 20. He's looking to get beyond the defender. He's taken down at the 14-yard line. That's a first down for Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill came out with a 32 set, 3 receivers to the strong side, 2 to the boundary, and then they just ran Prochnicki, the number 2 on the weak side on that jet sweep. West Ferris is playing sort of like a quarters coverage look right now, so their field corner and their field half are both high, 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. Their Sam linebacker is the only low player. That number 3 receiver just occupies and blocks that guy, and then there's no edge force beyond that, and he runs for huge yards.
Well, huge yards bring them down into the red zone. Here's Prochnicki as he drives it up the gut, and he'll bring it down to the 7-yard line. And that's a gain of 5 on the play.
So second and medium situation here in the red zone. Really, the playbook's wide open, Dana. You can run the ball. You can pass the ball. You can go play action. Don't be surprised if we see a play action here. They fake the run and go ahead and throw it. But you can call anything in this situation. So it's a difficult situation to have to defend against.
Here's Dylan Ford. Handoff. Looking to drive this one up the gut again. And looking to drive that one back. Big number 75, Ty Meehan, the defensive tackle at 6'1", 200 pounds.
Yeah, very limited gain there. I'm not sure they gained anything at all. So way to get stout in the interior of that defensive line. West Ferris there, we've seen them get gashed in the interior time and time again today. But on that particular play, they didn't give up anything, and now they forced Sir Winston Churchill into a field goal, or at least what we assume will be a field goal.
Cam Vanderwees comes into the lineup for Winston Churchill. Ford on the hold, and the field goal is good. Dyke Taw comes up with the field goal. He can put 3 more points up on the board. It's now 23-7 for Winston Churchill as they lead North Bay West Ferris 23-7 with 5:45 left here in the third quarter of play.
Yeah, I think a key to the game so far has been the struggles of Mason McGriskin at the quarterback position. With his accuracy and a couple of his decision making, the throws involved with his decision making there. Obviously, he's had a couple picks. One of them not really his fault, that was tipped off the hands of the receiver, but certainly the most recent one that we saw here on their previous series. That's just a throw you can't make. You've got to be on target there, and if you have any hopes of leading your team back here into this game, he's going to have to find a way to be more to grow his confidence and be more accurate here.
Well, that was 2 interceptions that he's thrown in this game. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Official stats here. So Winston Churchill will kick to West Ferris. as the sun continues to shine brightly here in Hamilton. Tim Hortons Field, a professional football field and stadium here in Hamilton, Ontario, home of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as West Ferris, on the return of the kick, they bring it out to the 50-yard line, but we've got a flag on the play.
Yeah, I have to assume it's an infraction on the receiving team here. West Ferris, they're going to get some type of block in the back or push from behind and move this back. They would have had excellent field position out at the 48-yard line, but it's coming back.
So the illegal block is the call, and they'll bring it back and march the ball back to the 35-yard line, 36-yard line to be official. So West Ferris dealing with field position right now, and the fact that they're down by 16 points. Here's McGriskin in shotgun. McColeman will take the pitch. Looking to cut inside. He'll go wide, and he's got a bit of an opening. He sees it. He's got good wheels, and he's brought down at the 43-yard line on a high tackle. I don't see any flags on the play.
No, it was actually a very well-executed play. I talked, you've heard me mention a couple times already that they have numbers to the strong side. That only is not advantageous in the passing game, but in the running game. And so they get the extra blocker out there, and there's really no defenders there for him. So he's able to lead up to the most dangerous man, the first thing that shows. And McClendon went, he was probably 16, 17 yards down the field before he was ever touched on that play. Sir Winston Churchill continues to keep that backside halfback in the boundary versus the one receiver surface. So they're short to the field.
Run with a cross bucket. Here's McColeman again with the ball. And he'll bring it down to the Winston Churchill 40 before being thrown out of bounds, but we've got a flag on the play.
Yeah, we're going to get a holding penalty by the Z wide receiver, the widest receiver to the field, and I really put this one on McColeman, Dana. He needs to cut up inside that receiver. The receiver can't see where he's running. He can't see his running back behind him. He doesn't know whether he's cutting inside or outside. He was blocking the receiver outside. McColeman chose not to turn it up the field. He tried to run around the outside. And so when the defender tried to come off that block, his receiver got caught holding onto his jersey. So McClendon needs to be more decisive, stick his foot in the ground, and turn up the field. There certainly was an alley there. There was a lane there for him.
McColeman's been quite impressive, actually.
Yes, McColeman. I apologize. I called him McClendon.
And as we continue to analyze the game here with the Northern Bowl, the Simcoe Bowl will be coming up, featuring Ottawa St. Matthews and Newmarket Huron Heights. Huron Heights Warriors with their bubble set up in the northeast corner of the stadium. Don't know what that's all about. And the pass up in the air, that was into triple coverage. And it just did not materialize.
It should have been another interception. And it was dropped. Joey Wall, number 47, had his hands on it. He tried to throw the corner route. The corner route into the teeth of this wind is going to be a difficult throw for most high school quarterbacks. It's got to travel a long way to begin with, and it has to have a high trajectory on it to travel that way, and the wind is simply just going to knock it down.
James Piper, the intended receiver on the play, 6'5", 220 pounds. But even with the height, that's still not able to withstand triple coverage.
Yeah, I would like to see West Ferris run a couple bubble screens out here to the wide side of the field. They've got the extra player, so as long as their two receivers can block the two defenders out there, there's no one left. And so get one of your better players, get the ball in the hands of Riley Geisler in space, and let him do his thing.
Certainly got the numbers as they line up with trips off the left side. They're going to go with the pass. It's a hitch. Connects with Cameron Walters, and Walters still struggling with the ball. He brings it to the 50-yard line. That's a gain of 2 on the play.
So I just talked about let's run the screen. Previously, after the previous play, unfortunately, I wasn't really a fan of how they set it up. They brought the fullback out of the backfield and they motioned him out wide to a 41 set. Well, now you're drawing an extra defender out there when you do that. And I'm not sure that, from what I've seen so far, that Cameron Walters is quite as quick and as shifty as Geisler is. I'd rather have the ball in the hands of Geisler in that situation than Walters. So I like the call or the concept of going with the screen, but I don't like schematically how they ran it and how they set it up.
West Ferris just getting off the kick in time. A lot of pressure on that punt. And we've got a dead ball. The officials ruling it dead. Kevin Horton, the referee on the play.
Yeah, the punt traveled 8 yards. That's how significant this wind is right now. So they blow those dead just to avoid any significant crazy collisions and protect the players.
Yeah, and rightfully so. As we see the teams get set for first down with Winston Churchill, a number of other results that we'll certainly get out for you. Some great day of action yesterday here at Tim Hortons Field with 4 games played. And we'll have the results for all the fans on CanadaFootballChat.com in just a few moments. Prochnicki, he'll drive it out to center. That's a gain of 4 on the play.
Yeah, well-defended inside run play. West Ferris, obviously they've made some changes to how they're going to defend the inside run game in between the tackles. They've been successful 2 or 3 of the last times that Sir Winston Churchill's tried to run in there.
Dylan Ford. Motion coming up to the line. You got 5 receivers coming off the line. They're going to go with the pass out in the flat. And somebody obviously ran the wrong route because Dylan Ford threw to an area, not to an intended receiver.
Yeah, there was no one there. Prochnicki lined up in the backfield and then motioned out late and was running to the flat. I can only assume that's where the ball was intended, but it certainly was nowhere near him.
Connor Barley was beyond the pass of the ball. He was out around the 40-yard line. Third down situation for Winston Churchill. They're set up in punt formation. There's the kick. It'll go to the West Ferris 30, bobbling on the ball, able to get through it, and Ryan McColeman will bring it out to the 42. It'll be 1st and 10 for West Ferris. 2:20 left here in the third quarter of play. Time is now becoming of the essence.
Yeah, I think they're still okay at this point in time. It really is still two fully converted touchdowns with 2-point conversions, so technically it's still a 2-score game. Obviously, they can't afford to go down any more than that. Really, the defense is in a situation now for West Ferris where there is no margin for error. And really, this West Ferris offense needs to get going. And McGriskin needs to be able to start hitting his targets, and they need to be able to start running the football both inside and outside.
Shotgun on a crossbuck, and McColeman's got the ball, and he brings that out to center. That's a first down for West Ferris.
I like McColeman's decision there a lot better. This time he cut up inside, and he gained positive yards for a first down, but he also didn't put his receivers in a position where, based on the angles, where they had any chance to get called for a hold. So much more decisive decision there. I'm sure when he came over to the sideline, that's something his coach talked about at the end of the last series. Hey, listen, you got to turn this thing up the field at some point.
Licking his chops on the play. Some positive yardage. Here's McColeman as he's going to go right up the gut. You could drive a tractor trailer through that hole. The offensive line did an outstanding job creating some space.
Yeah, strong side defensive end got blocked down inside by the tackle. There really was no edge beyond that outside, and he's able to pick up 7 or 8 yards on first down. You'll take that every time.
So it'll be 2nd and 3 for West Ferris. Ball placed on the 47-yard line of Winston Churchill. Receivers are wide.
See, we got the 3-on-2 out here with Geisler and Slot. I'd love to see the bubble.
McColeman. And he'll go off tackle on the play. And that's going to be very tight.
Yeah, I think they're a half a yard short. I also expect West Ferris to simply go for this.
Yeah, it's at the point now where you really have to take a chance.
Yeah, the West Ferris defense done a great job here in the third quarter because Sir Winston Churchill has had that wind at their back the whole time. And all they've been able to come out with is the 1 field goal to keep this game relatively close. So West Ferris needs possessions. They need the football, and they need to be able to get in the end zone. So they're going to have to go for it here.
On the snap, McColeman, and he's going to drive it again.
And I'll tell you what, they're lucky, Dana, that McColeman runs as tough as he did. 2 Sir Winston Churchill defensive linemen came completely through the front unblocked. And one of them hit McColeman 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But I'll tell you what, for a young man that's at his size, he certainly runs tough. He broke through that tackle and gained the first.
He's seeing an awful lot of mileage here in the second half.
Yeah, they got to start getting the ball in some other people's hands. They got to get the ball in Geisler's hands in space. Let him do his thing.
This will be the last play of the third quarter. Here's McGriskin. Trips coming off the right side. McColeman with the pitch. Looking to go wide. Cuts inside, and he's hit. Taken to the turf. Beautiful tackle.
Excellent hit there. DeAndre Cardle shot through, chased that thing, scraped across it from his linebacker position, and tracked him all the way out there, and it made the play outside the between the hash and the numbers. But another example there with McColeman turning up the field and gaining positive yardage, using his blocks correctly.
Yeah, DeAndre Cardell on that tackle. Looks like he suplexed him.
No, he did. You know what? I still think, though, here, I think they're going to have to get something positive out of McGriskin if they're going to come back and win this football game. He's got to be better right now. You've gotten to this point where you're playing in the Northern Bowl. You got to be able to get something from your quarterback in order to able to overcome this deficit. I don't think they're going to be able to keep running McColeman wide over and over and over again in hopes of winning this football game. So we need to see Mason McGriskin step up and make some plays.
Well, they've had some very close games to get to this point. A couple of 1- and 2-point victories in the last 3 or 4 games. Again, they're going to run wide side on the field. And that was number 19, Braden Campbell, on the play.
Yeah, so they ran the inside zone fake to McColeman, and then brought the jet sweep back around the other way, sort of the counter to Braden Campbell into the short side. He ran it back into the boundary. Excellent pickup. They got the first down here, and that's good because the defense here for Sir Winston Churchill, obviously at this point, is keying so significantly on McColeman based on his production in the last quarter and a little bit here that you're going to have to get the hands you're going to have to get the ball in the hands of some other guys.
Wes Ferris, who started the season on a losing note against Scullard Hall, came back with 2 victories against Chippewa and Whitfield, 33-0 and 37-0 respectively, and they've been on a roll ever since. So McGriskin knows what it takes to win. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter now of executing here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so they ran wide with McColeman again, and number 51 for Sir Winston Churchill, Austin Butcher, scraped across over the top at 6'2", 240 pounds, and was able to limit the gain to 5 yards.
Just over 11 minutes left here in the fourth. Lots of time left, as you had mentioned, Dwayne. But time is in the back of their minds right now. Here's McGriskin. He's got 5 receivers. Tosses it up in the air into man coverage, and it just did not materialize.
Well, they haven't been successful on any of the deep passes they've tried to throw today. And so I would like to see them give him something more manageable. Give him some passes that are easy for him to complete, build his confidence, give him some crossing routes, give him some hooks, give him some quick outs, something that he can get the ball out of his hands quickly and he doesn't have to throw it deep down the field, because whether it's into the wind or with the wind, he's showing that he's struggling with his accuracy today. Cameron
Walters was the intended receiver on the play. Winston Churchill in man coverage. And throwing into the end zone. That was a nice attempt. And they were going toward number 19, Braden Campbell, on the play. He has not been in sync with Campbell, though. They've not been able to pull down the ball.
Well, I said some things about McGriskin's about his accuracy a minute ago. That's the best deep ball we've seen him throw all day. He put it on the hands of Braden Campbell. It wasn't going to be an easy catch for him, but he had both hands on it and he dropped it. And so your playmakers, your best players, if you're going to win in big games, they have to be your best guys. And so far today, certainly the offensive players on the West Ferris, their biggest guys outside of McColeman haven't been able to be up to the level of the Sir Winston Churchill players to this point.
It's not like McGriskin's not getting protection. He's had some pretty good protection up front from Malcolm McLeod and Gord DeJong, the offensive tackle on the play. Here's Winston Churchill. First down situation, and they've got another first down as they go out of bounds.
Yeah, it was just a quick hitch screen into the boundary, and number 19 for West Ferris, Braden Campbell, the young man that just missed the touchdown pass. In fact, actually, I believe I have the number wrong. I think it's number 18, Chris Musa, was right there to make a play at the point of attack, and unfortunately wasn't able to make the tackle. The receiver broke outside and got down the sideline for the first down.
Derek Steadwell, the receiver on the play, creates for a first down. The ball on the 47-yard line. Here's Winston Churchill again on the run. Prochnicki, as he goes out of bounds and driven into the West Ferris bench.
Yeah, they came back to the jet sweep. We've seen them run it half a dozen times here today. West Ferris, I thought, had made some adjustments to limit the effectiveness of it, but on that particular play, they weren't ready for it. He picked up 20-plus yards. I'm actually surprised there wasn't an additional 15 tacked on as he took a late shot out of bounds, but the referees ultimately decided to keep their flags in their pockets on that one.
Ball placed on the 46-yard line of West Ferris. First down, Winston Churchill. Prochnicki. Fake on the handoff. Whoa, look out. And Ford took a licking. And he looks like he'll keep on ticking as he gets up on his own accord. The pass is complete.
I was waiting for you to finish that that line. Once I heard that he took a licking, I was waiting for the keeps on ticking, and you finished it. Good job there. But excellent adjustment to the football because, as you mentioned, he was hit while he threw it, so the ball didn't get where it was initially intended. It was a great job by the receiver to come back and get it. And that's sort of what I talk about. You need your best players to be able to make plays, and I think the best players on Sir Winston Churchill today have been better than West Ferris's best players.
That's essentially what it comes down to as we see Dylan Ford again on a sweep. And they're going left on the play. And Prochnicki will get it down close to the 15-yard line. Not enough for a first down.
Yeah, we talked a couple minutes ago that the clock wasn't an issue, but now it's becoming an issue, and mostly simply because it doesn't look as if West Ferris at this point in this drive is going to be able to keep Sir Winston Churchill out of the end zone. You get down 3 scores with 8 minutes left, and it's darn near impossible at that point in time. So it almost seems as if they're going to have a chance to win this game, that a huge play is going to have to come from this West Ferris defense here.
Brody Wenzel at 6'5", 235 pounds as the center for Winston Churchill, doing a great job providing good protection for Dylan Ford. Ford takes a snap, but we've got a flag going up in the air, and it's a time count violation against Winston Churchill. Yeah, no doubt, Dwayne. The time becomes an essence here. 7:56 left here in the fourth. West Ferris has got a lot to think about.
West Ferris got to force a turnover here.
Here's Dylan Ford looking to go to the air, escapes out of the pocket, lofts the ball up in the air. And the aerial game today on both sides has not been that strong. And I think the wind has something to do with it.
It does. Neither one of these guys are particularly – I mean, they're certainly good quarterbacks, but they're not particularly strong-armed quarterbacks. And so you run the double move and you try and throw the deep ball down the sideline into that wind. Anytime you throw the ball on a high trajectory, which you need to do obviously on the deep balls, it's going to affect it. But West Ferris, Chris Musa there got his hands on that football. He needed to come down with it. They need the ball back quickly.
James Basiliga was the intended target on the play. They'll hand off and drive it to Prochnicki as he brings it down to the 15-yard line, and that's good for a first down. Correction, that's enough to bring the ball to the 15-yard line, not enough for a first down.
I think if you're Sir Winston Churchill here, it's third down. Just go ahead and kick the field goal. You get a 3-score lead. This game essentially is over. Of course, you can go for it on third down and get it, and then you look a lot smarter than I am. But you give yourself a 3-score lead with 7 minutes left, you know you're not going to lose.
And the coaches have opted to go on third down. Here's Dylan Ford. He's going to look for the end zone. No, he is able to get it over Basiliga, and Basiliga takes it into the end zone. That's a touchdown.
Well, as I said, what you want to do is go for it on third down and score the touchdown so you have the 3-score lead.
James Basiliga on a pass from Dylan Ford. And that was a pass and catch of 14 yards. And we've got a West Ferris player down on the field.
That's number 12. Cole Goddard, the defensive back, grade 11 young man, is down. But he's up. He's walking off under his own power right now, so I think he's going to be okay. That's good to see.
Late in the ball game, you just don't want to see injuries like this, or at any time.
No, it's a long ride home for these young men after this game. Win or lose, it's a long ride home. You don't want them to have to be dealing with being hurt on the bus as well.
Dyke Ta with the convert. Daita has been pretty much successful throughout the course of the game.
Well, you know what? He's been effective on both sides of football, and in the kicking game, I've been really impressed with his ability to manage poor snaps. We saw the one early in the game where the punt snap was snapped over his head, and he calmly handled that as well as you could expect or anticipate. And we've seen a scenario on a field goal where they had a botch snap, and he just nothing phases this young man. I don't think he's able to handle those things.
Braden Prochnicki coming up with a touchdown in the second quarter. He also had one in the first. James Basiliga contributing in a big way with a touchdown, a 4-yard pass in the second quarter. Also coming up with the touchdown we just saw, a 14-yard pass and catch into the end zone. Those two weapons, as you had mentioned, Dwayne, Basiliga and Prochnicki, there's been no response from West Ferris when it comes to their star players.
No, I mean we've seen an excellent effort today out of Ryan McCollman in the run game, and he's certainly been involved in some plays on defense for West Ferris as well too. But I think Mason McGriskin, if he had an opportunity, would like to do this game over. It's not done yet. Perhaps there's a miracle coming here, but to this point, the game hasn't gone the way he would have liked it to have. It would have been nice to have seen Geisler get an opportunity to do some more things with the football, but it just hasn't been there for them today, and credit's got to go to the Sir Winston Churchill defense.
Pitch outside. They're going to go left. Here's Ryan McCollman looking for an opening. He's got the wheels to make it happen, and he knows where the marker is, and that's a first down, if not close to a first down.
I think they've marked his progress out short, it looks like. He must have just stepped on the line before he turned up. I actually thought he had gotten there as well, too, but it's going to bring up second and short.
Yeah, he'll be short by 2 yards, but not for lack of effort. Ryan McCollman has certainly been the workhorse and the power in the backfield for West Ferris. Here's McGriskin. Going to the air. The pass is caught. Nice try. Nice attempt to get the ball over to McCollman, but it was fumbled, and Winston Churchill is going to take over possession of the ball. Just not what the doctor ordered for West Ferris.
Well, I love the call. They lined McGriskin motioned over onto the weak side of the quarterback, so they had the three receivers to the field and just one into the boundary. The one receiver in the short side ran the quick hitch route, and McGriskin released to the flat. So they were running a hook and ladder play where the receiver catches it and then he laterals it back to McLennan. And if they complete that exchange cleanly, he's going to the end zone because there was nobody there. But unfortunately, they weren't able to manage the exchange. The ball ended up on the ground, and Churchill was able to recover.
Cameron Walters in on the play for West Ferris. Here's Winston Churchill with the ball. Their first down attempt did not materialize. They've got the ball at the 43-yard line, their own zone. 5:40 and counting left in this Northern Bowl.
Interesting play call up 3 scores. You run the football inside. Regardless of what you gain, you keep the clock running. They decide to throw a quick pass to the flat. It gets knocked down, incomplete, stops the clock. And that's certainly what West Ferris needs at this point in time.
High snap. Ford hands off. They're going to drive this one up the gut. They'll get a gain of about 4 or 5 on the play.
Brings up 3rd and long, as we anticipate we might see here. It looks as if they're going to keep the offense out on the field, and they're going to forego the punt.
Adam Wallace, 6'4", 250-pound defensive end, in on the tackle for West Ferris. As we see a shift in linemen. Pass. They're going to go outside in the flat with the pass. This is James Basiliga with the ball. He's looking to get out of bounds on the play. He's taken out at center. And that's a first down for Winston Churchill.
Man, frustrating for West Ferris. 2 young men had an opportunity to make the tackle short of the first down and turn the football over on downs, and neither young man was able to ultimately bring Basiliga down, and he was able to get a yard beyond the marker, and they're going to maintain possession of the football here with 4 minutes left.
First down from center. Here's Winston Churchill. Dylan Ford again in shotgun. Look at go with a pass straight up the middle. James Basiligo on the play. He makes the catch. Very dangerous territory to be making a catch because you know you're going to get labeled by a defensive back.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why Sir Winston Churchill's throwing the ball at this point in time. The game's not in doubt. The only way you could potentially lose it is by making significant errors and throwing the football. I mean, it can get intercepted and could get tipped, and your receiver could fumble it when he takes a big hit. So I think I'd just go ahead and run the ball here inside.
2-by-3 formation coming up. Go with the pass. Again, they make the connection. This is Braden Prochnicki, and Prochnicki's going to go into the end zone. Beautiful passing catch from Dylan Ford as Winston Churchill puts up another 6 points on the board.
Well, and as I mentioned, the thing to do is to keep throwing the ball down the field and getting the scores. I hope you can sense my sarcasm on the broadcast, but surprising play call. But they're certainly executing on these throws late in the ball game and walking into the end zone for another touchdown.
That was a 42-yard pass and catch between Dylan Ford and Braden Prochnicki. That's Prochnicki's third touchdown in this game. On the convert, and they fumble on the snap. It's ruled a dead ball. And Winston Churchill will take a 36-7 lead over West Ferris with 3:23 left in this Northern Bowl.
Yeah, Tyke Daw having to manage another offline long snap, and you see him playing soccer with the football right now. It gives you an idea just how sort of nonchalant and laid back, and nonchalant not really being the appropriate term, but this young man just doesn't get fazed by things. And as a coach, you love to have players like that regardless of the moment or the situation or what happens, it rarely affects them or impacts them negatively, and he's clearly handling those situations well today.
It's been an outstanding day for Winston Churchill football, and the fans back in Thunder Bay are rejoicing tremendously. We've got very good football up there in a 5-team league, including Hammarskjold, St. Ignatius, Westgate, and St. Patrick, and very competitive up there.
Well, I'm happy for Sir Winston Churchill. My birth certificate says that my place of birth is Thunder Bay. And so I was only there for a couple days, and it just so happens that I've never been back there, so I can't speak to knowing the area, but nice to see the Thunder Bay team, the hometown team, coming out on top.
And certainly shout out to both towns and cities with Thunder Bay and North Bay. Tremendous athletes come from those areas. You look at football teams, hockey teams. Looking at you, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah. Greatest athlete ever.
West Ferris with the pass, and it's caught, and we see quite a tackle made by number 3, Connor Byerly.
Well, you know what? I really like Connor Byerly. We've seen him make a number of plays today in the defensive backfield. First time we see all day where we get the crossing routes by West Ferris. So, once the game is out of reach with 3 minutes, they change up the pattern and start throwing a little bit more intermediate. I would like to have seen McGriskin have the opportunity to make some of those throws earlier in the game when the game was still hanging in the balance. But nonetheless, good throw, good catch, and very, very good tackle by Byerly.
Braden Campbell, the receiver on the play. So a second down and 6 to go for McGriskin. Here's McGriskin with the pass. Another completion, and that seems to be right on the money. They look to have a first down.
Yeah, a little stop route out there in the boundary. Cameron Walters was the receiver. They've essentially gone to an empty set. They still have the big H-back Adam Wallace in there for protection, but he's lined up out on the edge. And so they took McClendon there and they put him out as a receiver. So really spreading this Sir Winston Churchill defense out here formationally.
McGriskin. Fake on the handoff. They're going to go long distance on the pass. It's caught. Beautiful catch. And forced out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Pass is complete to number 17, Cameron Walters.
Well executed. Good throw. Good catch. The defensive back for Sir Winston Churchill, number 47, Joey Wall, kind of stopped running. Didn't realize the ball was coming to his receiver, and so the receiver was able to create some separation there, as I mentioned, Walters, and Wall just able to knock him out of bounds before he walked into the end zone.
So the ball placed on a 7-yard line. First and goal for West Ferris. McCriskin, hands off. Ryan McColeman looking to drive it to the goal line. He's stopped at the 1.
I think the thing I'm most excited about right now for West Ferris is that this game clearly is over in terms of who's going to win or lose, but these kids aren't quitting. The West Ferris offensive players are coming out, and they're getting things done. They're completing passes. They're making great catches. And McColeman right there, he put his head down and ran over the defender and got down to the 1-yard line.
Tremendous job by McColeman as he's got the ball again. He's looking to get over the goal line. It's ruled a touchdown. Ryan McColeman with his second touchdown of the game for West Ferris.
Just a simple inside handoff, a dive play really, and he's able to get enough for the touchdown. I assume they'll go with the extra point. We'll see if we get an onside kick here, but I can't say enough today about the work that Ryan McColeman has done in the running game. And I think I touched on it earlier once. He's only 5'5", but he does weigh 180 pounds. So he's got some power, and he's kind of sort of built tough, and he runs the ball very, very hard.
And the convert is good. So 36-14 in favor of Winston Churchill as they lead North Bay West Ferris with 2:13 left here in this Northern Bowl. Dwayne, Mason McGriskin, it's unfortunate that the engines weren't moving in sync with the receivers earlier in the game, because if they were, the score would be a lot different.
Yeah, he just wasn't on target. We talked about a couple of interceptions. One of them that really wasn't his fault. He threw a ball on target, and it bounced off the receiver's hands and into the waiting arms of the Winston Churchill defender. But it just didn't seem as if he was on target on the same page with his receivers on the downfield throws today. I know the wind had a lot to do with that, regardless of what direction they were going in. But as I said earlier, I think this is a game, if he had the opportunity to do it again, he certainly would like to.
Looking for an onside kick, and Winston Churchill is going to take the ball. They'll take a knee at the 45, and Winston Churchill offensive unit will come out on the field, start their set of downs with 2:11 left here in this Northern Bowl. Clock continues to wind down. Mark Robertson and company. It's been quite a trip for both teams.
Yeah, it'll be a while before this group gets home. It's a long trip home for both of them.
Well, they measure off Thunder Bay to Toronto, the same distance as traveling from Toronto to Miami. It's that kind of distance that we're talking about. So not only in terms of
do the kids have the
distance,
option of which direction they can go? If it's the same, if everything's equal, could we just go to Miami instead?
Yeah, we could play at the Orange Bowl. And certainly it felt like that yesterday with the temperatures up around 14 Celsius.
Oh, man, it was
for
beautiful.
4 bowl games here at Tim Hortons Field yesterday in Hamilton. Unbelievable. The press box windows were all open. Pass, they're going with the hitch. The outside, this is Cole Grant with the ball, and he'll run out of bounds. And that was a late hit, but I don't see any flag on the play. And some of the players in the Winston Churchill team rejoicing.
Yeah, I think they expected a flag. I certainly expected a flag came out. The fact that they didn't throw it may have more to do with the situation in the game and the time that's left on the clock and not trying to extend this game any. But certainly by rule, that probably should have been a penalty.
1:45 and counting. We're at the 51-yard line. Third down situation for Winston Churchill. They hand off. Here's Daita with the ball. And that's a first down as they bring it down to the 44-yard line of West Ferris.
Yeah, they're still running their stuff and still having some success with it.
They just want to play.
No, and you know what? For these kids, they got, as we mentioned, both teams, they got a long travel home. I think both teams have some of their backups in, and those kids practice hard all season. They get they deserve an opportunity to get the ball thrown to them and to run it as well too. So I have no issue. I take no issue whatsoever with the fact that they're still trying to move the football. Those kids deserve opportunities as well.
2-by-3 formation. They elect to go off tackle with the handoff. And they'll drive that one. Dayton to play.
Surprised to see Taw in there still running the football at this point. But, limited the gain there to 3 yards. Good stop by West Ferris defense.
Adam Wallace and Brent McLeod in on the tackle for West Ferris. Second down situation. Churchill going to go with the hitch pass outside. It's caught. Stopped behind the line of scrimmage. On the reception was Cole Grant.
Yeah, a nice tackle in the open field. 84 there. Kalen Butcher for linebacker for West Ferris. Saw that and snuffed it out immediately. Went out there and made that the nice solo tackle to the field. Bring up third.
3rd and 11. Here's Winston Churchill. 54 seconds and counting left here in this Northern Bowl. Dylan Ford looking to draw them offside, and we've got a flag on the play.
Yeah, I don't get this. You got a 22-point lead with 40 seconds left, and you're running freeze motion to try and draw the opponent offside. It worked. Great. You picked up 5 yards, but let's, have some I'm not sure compassion's the right term. It is a competitive game. I get it, but I'm just not sure the point of trying to draw the other team offside with 40 seconds left.
That brings us down to 3rd down situation for Winston Churchill. Here's Dylan Ford with the pass. It's caught. Looking to go into the end zone. Just stopped short. And how they're going to rule this one?
I believe it's going to be West Ferris football.
On the fumble. And recovered by West Ferris. So certainly that pass attempt was clean. However, West Ferris able to recover quickly with 32 seconds left on the clock.
Quick throw into the seam to Shane Thompson, and Shane was almost in the end zone to add another touchdown to it. But good touchdown-saving tackle by West Ferris. They didn't quit and give up on the play. They forced the fumble and have taken over here for the final 30 seconds to possess the ball.
First down situation. North Bay West Ferris says they're looking to go long distance. And it is picked off. Winston Churchill's got the ball. And they go out of bounds on the play.
Well, good play by Joey Wall there. Deep ball, didn't quite get far enough for the receiver to be able to run under it. Both defender and receiver had to slow up. It was another throw down the sideline intended for Cameron Walters. Joey Wall, who was beat earlier on the previous possession on the deep ball down the sideline, was right in the hip pocket of Walters this point in time and intercepted it. And I spoke too soon. West Ferris will possess the ball for 8 seconds. And now Sir Winston Churchill likely will finish out the game.
For Joey Wall, that's redemption after being burnt on that earlier play. 22 seconds and counting left here in this Northern Bowl. The ball's backed up to the 50-yard line of Winston Churchill. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Trojans. So they're just going to look to wind down the clock here.
Yeah, and they're doing the right thing here. Just run the clock out. We don't need to throw any more seam passes or balls down the field.
Yeah. It's been quite an exciting affair for both squads making their way here to Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton this year. Winston Churchill playing in 2 previous campaigns and losing in those 2 games to Sault Ste. Marie, St. Mary's College and Superior Heights in 2011. They come out with a big victory here today over North Bay West Ferris. 36-14 the final score to capture it all. Dwayne, your thoughts on this game?
I thought the game sort of hinged on 2 things that went in the favor of Sir Winston Churchill. West Ferris's defensive front's inability to stop the run game of Sir Winston Churchill, and I just thought that Sir Winston Churchill's best players outperformed the best players from West Ferris.
Braden Prochnicki scored 3 touchdowns, and James Basiliga with 2. Your thoughts on their performances, and can they take it to another level?
I think they both have the potential to. Prochnicki is a little bit undersized, but certainly he did enough today to open some eyes, and certainly some coaches are going to have some conversations with him. I don't think there's any question that James Basiliga is a prospect for the next level. The two of them were really the difference in the game from an offensive standpoint today.
Looking at Ryan McCollman for North Bay West Ferris, and obviously he logged an awful lot of minutes and a lot of yardage for the Trojans. Your thoughts on his destinations as well?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for sure at his size at 5'5", but he showed excellent toughness. He can be a niche player. I certainly don't think he can be an every down running back at the next level with his size, but he's somebody that you get on your roster and maybe can be involved in your return game for you. We saw him return some punts and kicks today effectively.
So that'll wrap up everything here with the Northern Bowl again. Thunder Bay, Winston Churchill coming out with a big victory over North Bay West Ferris, 36-14 to capture the Northern Bowl here at the OFSAA Bowl Football Festival, Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. For Dwayne Cameron, I'm Dana McKeel saying so long from Tim Hortons Field. Stay tuned for the next game coming up, featuring Huron Heights from Newmarket against St. Matthews Tigers from Ottawa, and that will be the Simcoe Bowl to cap off 9 bowl games over 3 days here in Hamilton.